here for the party. Trust me, we just getting started. The sound, the vibe, I feel so alive. I'm only here for the party. Trust me, we just getting started.
Hello and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. As you should have seen from the wee introduction sequence there, this is a video about the Celtic FC Women side, the Celtic Girls side. And so if you don't follow the Celtic FC Women's side, this video may not be for you. However, there will be a review of the Celtic Rangers 1-1 draw later on today, which should be uploaded later in the afternoon. Moving back to the vital game between Celtic Girls and Glasgow City at Petershill yesterday afternoon. Unfortunately, it clashed with the second half of the Rangers-Celtic match, and so the crowd was a lot lower than would usually be expected. And sadly, at the end of the game, Celtic's faint hopes of retaining the SWPL title have died, and so the last three games really just a question of playing for pride, playing for position, and trying to get the team confidence, teamwork, tactics, formation, etc. nailed down for next season. I expect over the summer there's going to be quite a clear out of players. A few, I think, are coming to the end of their contracts, although it's always very hard to tell with the Celtic FC Women's side, as they're not very open with their financial details, their contracts, etc. However, I suspect there will be 4 or 5 players probably moving on at the end of their contract. I would expect a few players coming in. Hopefully, we can upgrade in terms of quality, and I think there is honestly a good core of players to come through next season. I think quite a few of the younger players have really come to the fore this season. I think some of the signings have been good, and I think disappointingly it's been a lot of the more experienced players who have maybe been disappointingly inconsistent over the course of the season, along with quite a number of injuries to the squad as well. So in the video, we're going to have a wee look at the goals. I've also got some highlights of the game, and we'll also look at the stats for the game as well. So first thing I think we'll do is we'll pop in those highlights or lowlights, depending on whether you're a Girl supporter or a Glasgow City Women supporter, and then I'll chat through what my thoughts were of the goals and the stats, etc. So, as you will have seen from the start of those highlights, Celtic played the same side as they had in the 2-1 win against Hearts. And to be fair, I thought Celtic started the better side, had a few half chances early on, forced Gibson into a good save early on, and then Celtic had a pretty awful 20-minute section between around about the 24th minute and the end of the first half. And I think certainly one can lay a lot of blame at the back four playing poorly, and in all three goals, Kelsey Docherty, our goalkeeper, usually very reliable, I think, a player who's saved many games for Celtic over the last couple of years. I think Kelsey Docherty can be put largely at fault for all three goals. First goal by Kozlova in the 24th minute, long ball out of Glasgow City's defence, went straight through Celtic's defence. Emma Lawton had been caught a wee bit up the pitch, setting up an attack, and so in that case, Bruno Lorenko, Kelly Clark, and Celia Barkley should all have been covering across, and the midfielders dropping back to support the defence. Unfortunately, big long straight ball over the top completely defeated Celtic's defence. Kozlova ran onto the ball, got close to Kelsey Docherty, and then smashed the ball over Kelsey's head. I think probably Kelsey should have got more of a hand to it and to stop it. However, it was a forceful shot, powerful shot. However, I do think Kelsey Docherty was rather disappointed that she'd let it in. 6 minutes later, 30th minute, long pass back from Celia Barkley. Kelsey Docherty got it under control, passed to Kelly Clark, who seemed to have her back to the ball. However, Kelsey's pass was on the short side. Ball was won by Livera out on the right, and a nice pass into Kozlova, who practically had an open goal to make it 2-0. And late in the half, another defensive mix-up, quite why Bruno Lorenko is passing the ball back to Kelsey Docherty, who had two Glasgow City attackers in her face. Again, Kelsey this time mishit the pass, and the ball was popped into the net by Livera, and the Girls were 3-0 down at half time. To be fair, I think Celtic were as good a side, or if not better, in that first 20 minutes. They had that terrible 25 minutes from leading up to half time, 25 minutes leading up to half time. And in the second half, I think again, Celtic were the better side, or at least as good a side as Glasgow City. Celtic did pull one goal back. Lovely run and cross by Kit Lefersky, who came on in the 53rd minute. Lovely run and cross by Kit Lefersky on the right across the goal, across the 6-yard box, and Lucy Ashworth Clifford coming in at the back post. Had an easy finish to make it 3-1 down. And there was a probable penalty kick when Saoirse Noonan was taken down by Sam Van Diemen in the box. Van Diemen did get some of the ball and got plenty of Saoirse Noonan, and I think the referee interpreted that Van Diemen had got enough of the ball for it not to be a penalty kick. It certainly, for me, was a penalty kick, but I can understand why it wasn't given. And there were one or two wee half chances for both teams over the rest of the last 30 minutes or so, but neither side could add to their goal count, and the match ended 3-1 to Glasgow City. They moved briefly back to the top, but have now dropped back beneath Hibs again. Hibs winning away at Hearts, and Rangers not too unexpectedly thumping Motherwell. And I think clearly it's now a three-way battle between Hibs, Glasgow City and Rangers. We do still have both Hibs and Rangers to play, and so it could well be that if we get our act together and beat Rangers, it might well knock them out effectively of the title run-in. And Hibs are standing up to the pressure remarkably well. I thought, given their relative inexperience, that they might have folded under pressure, but they seem to be getting stronger and stronger as the season goes on. And it will be an interesting battle between those three to see who wins the title over the last couple of weeks. 3 more games for Celtic against Rangers, Hibs, and finally Motherwell. Looking at the stats for the game, it shows very much that Celtic were equal pretty much with Glasgow City. Was it not for some poor defending in that 20-minute spell in the first half, those goalkeeping errors, those defensive errors. So over the whole game, possession was 51-49 to Celtic. Shots were 9-8 to Celtic. Glasgow City had 4 on targets to just 2 by Celtic. 1 save each for the 2 goalkeepers. 3 block shots for Celtic, 1 block shot for Glasgow City, and off targets were 3 for Glasgow, 4 for Celtic, and corners was 6-2 in favour of Glasgow City. As I said, I think it shows Celtic were very much in the game, weren't so efficient as they could have been and should have been in front of the goal, and those disappointing 20 minutes of defensive and goalkeeping errors that killed the game off for Celtic by half time. One wee final thing just to cover before we finish this video off about the Celtic FC Women side, the Celtic Girls. It was also the Celtic FC Official Player of the Year Awards yesterday on Sunday, and there were a number of awards for the Celtic Girls side. Goal of the year was the goal by Shannon McGregor, I guess, against FC Gintra over in Lithuania in the first round of Champions League qualifiers. It was an absolutely amazing volleyed goal from the edge of the box that smashed into the top corner. A truly brilliant goal by Shannon McGregor. I think that would have been a very well-deserved winner. Slightly surprisingly, the Players' Player of the Year was Celia Barclay. I think she's had an okay season, but I think Emma Lawton and Saoirse Noonan would have been much more expected to be the Players' Player of the Year. However, Celia Barclay is a hard-working player. Don't think she's quite in her best position, but she does seem to be growing into that role as the left back. And the Fans Player of the Year was Shannon McGregor. I personally would have gone for Emma Lawton, as I think Shannon McGregor did start the season well, which got her into the Scotland women's squad, but I think her form kind of dipped before and after Christmas, and of course at the moment she is out for the rest of the season with an injury. And I think that has been a recurring theme for Celtic this year. A lot of players struggling with injury. We've lost Chloe Craig for the whole season with her knee injury. We've had several players in and out through injury, such as Kit Lefersky missed a lot of the season. And I think it has been a struggle for Celtic all season in terms of getting their best 11 on the pitch and getting them playing at their best as a team. So, as I said, 3 more games for Celtic to play this season. Rangers, Hibs, and then finally Motherwell. And then after that, we can plan for the 25-26 season. And as I was saying, I think there'll be quite a number of players leaving the squad. A few players hopefully coming in to upgrade the squad and building on that core of good, talented young players, many of whom, such as Shannon McGregor, Emma Lawton, Maria McInerney, and Saoirse Noonan, have really all played well so far this season. I think Momo Nakau, who joined us in the winter, has been a very good signing, and I can see her being a very influential player next season. And I think in Nakau, McInerney, and Shannon McGregor, I think we've got 3 very good midfielders to form the core of that area of the pitch for next season. I think we do need to get a second striker who can put the goals away. And I think we do need to strengthen things at the back, and hopefully Chloe Craig can come back fully fit and back to her best in defence. And I think she will be a very important player for Celtic next season, with Emma Lawson also at right back. So that finishes things off for today's video. Just a wee polite suggestion: if you are new to the channel, not yet subscribed, and if you're a fan of women's football and the Celtic FC women's team, please do click that subscriber button. And as always, do feel free to pop your own thoughts regarding yesterday's game, the players, the results, and any other Celtic FC Women, Celtic Girls issues into the comment section. And so until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.